Hello and welcome back to another video in a different setting because I'm in a different room. I just watched a Newcastle United versus Manchester United game where it ended 1-0 to Newcastle. And now I'm a West Ham fan. I make videos on other teams as well. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new. And we're going to get into it. And it was pretty much deserved for Newcastle. And let's be honest, in the first half, it could have been about 5 to Newcastle, if we're being completely honest. Obviously, Newcastle got robbed against PSG. I should have made a video on that. I should have done a match reaction to that match as well. They have to play the same starting lineup. They have a lot of injuries. I think Pope even got injured, which will be a blow for them. Probably be out for the Everton game because of his shoulder. But it didn't seem to be a problem because Man United decided to soak up pressure, but also decided to be very unorganised when doing it. And surely if you're a Man United fan, you're very worried. You're like, you brought in a manager to kind of like have an idea of what style of play he was going to play. He comes in and kind of fucks it off after getting beaten 4-0 by Brentford, and then wants to play this weird counter-attacking style of football. I remember one of his interviews when he said, like, to paraphrase him, he said in an interview when he came into Man United, and it wasn't a press conference, it was another interview, and he said, no matter how high up we are, I always demand you to press, whether we're in a high block or a low block. There was barely a press today. Like, I saw one press from when Newcastle had a goal kick, and like only like 3 players were there for the press. So like, it was very unorganised even in that, and it left so much holes in the back. And Newcastle know how to play out from the back quite well. Even if Nick Pope isn't the greatest, he knows how to just not overcomplicate it, just pass to his centre backs, and his centre backs will do the work. And they played out very well, and then they just got on with it and just kept letting shots off. And when it was Isak, Almiron or Anthony Gordon, Newcastle were letting off shots like crazy sometimes. And Onana came into question a lot against Galatasaray. It was a terrible performance, and he felt the pressure today. Like even his distribution was off today, and he's been terrible since he's entered the Premier League. And I give new signings a chance, yeah, but I feel like a goalkeeper's, like, you're not playing outfield much, even if your distribution is supposed to be like key to the team or whatever. I still think as a goalkeeper, you shouldn't need that much time to settle into a new league. You're a goalkeeper. And if you see the way Vicario's playing, I think Vicario's the only new signing goalkeeper this season that I've seen that's actually not bad. Like, David Raya has fallen way below my expectations playing for Arsenal. That new Forest keeper both of the Forest keepers that Forest have bought look dodgy. Dean Henderson doesn't play for Palace. That Flecken guy for Brentford is not good. And that Luton goalkeeper's a bit dodged. The Kaminsky guy, he can pull off a save and sometimes he'll just fuck it in the net. And yeah, that's a whole new like problem. But Nona was feeling the pressure. There was once in the second half and once in the first half where he completely fucks it up and just kicks the ball out of play. And you don't really see that in Onana. But I used to watch the big games in Serie A. I didn't watch every game in Serie A, so I don't know if he made this many mistakes in general in Serie A, but come on. Like, you got to do better than that. It's just the basic fundamentals. Like, even when he's diving, he dives with 2 hands. Like, it's not even like one hand's up like there when it goes high, or like one hand's pushing it down when he's trying to push the ball away. It's like both hands are there. It's like, it's very he just looks unstable trying to save any kind of ball. If we're talking about the game in general, for me, I thought it was going to be like a Lewis Miley, Kobe Mainu showdown. And they both played well. And it's kind of a bit mad how someone like Kobe Mainu can play that well. That's like a 19-year-old. But people like Sophie and Amrabat, I guess, yeah, I'll give him a chance. He's got to settle in, whether they'll buy him or not. But someone like Bruno Fernandes, he didn't have the worst game today. But in general play, he's not that good apart from his final ball. He's not like a proper number 10, but His final ball is very good. His shot, he's got a good shot on him, but he's not a number 10 that drags you out into space or comes even deeper to dictate play like like a Madison would, for example. He's very final ball reliant, and that's why he can score an amazing goal like that in Galatasaray. But sometimes he doesn't turn up in these kind of games where the atmosphere's a bit hectic. And as I said, like, he didn't have a bad game. There was especially in the first half. In the first half, he was okay. He started okay because you can't really like, for what you want from Bruno Fernandes, you couldn't really get from Bruno Fernandes today because Man United barely had the ball. And it's okay not having the ball, but you got to be organised at least. Like when Arsenal lost 1-0 here, like they can say we defended really well, but we didn't create enough chances. When United went forward today, it was like, what are we doing going forward? And speaking of going forward, Marcus Rashford had an all-time stinker again. If this guy, wasn't doing all of his stuff off the pitch and like didn't have this much of PR, and maybe wasn't even English, we would be talking about a guy who hasn't ever put consistent performances season in, season out. And I'm not just talking about goals and assists. I'm just talking about in general. And people always go to the goals and assists argument anyway. But 2 seasons ago, this guy scored 4 goals. So if we're using that argument, where was he for that? Now, you can't praise Rashford for when it's going well, but then for when it's not going well for Rashford, you can't say, but Man United are in a mess. Because this is what Man United fans do. They like to paper over the cracks a lot. Like, Luke Shaw, again, he's come back and he wasn't bad today, and he didn't have a bad season. I'd say he had a good first half of the season last season, and the second half of the season, I didn't think he was that good. He's another person that when he's fully fit, he's not really that consistent either. I think he's a good left back, but he's nothing more than good. Harry Maguire had a good game today. Like, credit where it's due. I'm not a fan at all of Harry Maguire. I never have been. I'm not a bandwagon guy. I've never been a fan of Harry Maguire. But at the same time, this guy had a good game today. The guy was blocking everything. He put his head on the line for a lot of things, and he made clearances on his own. And Shaw as a centre-back is not even that bad either. Diogo Dalot and Aaron Wan-Bissaka were awful today. Like, they were awful. Like, Wan-Bissaka is very good 1v1 defending, but he can't do anything else. I don't even know which direction he's going in when he's trying to dribble with the ball. Diogo Dalot, on the other hand, was just terrible. When he was terrible for the goal, I'm looking at the goal back. Like, the whole defensive line looks just completely mishmashed. Dalot is so narrow. Wan-Bissaka's lost his man at the back post. So, why do Man United always look disjointed? And you can see, if Rafael Varane cannot get a game over Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, then he's fell out with the manager. It's not quite obvious. It's quite obvious that that Rafael Varane's fell out with the manager. And you can quite clearly see he doesn't want to be there anymore. So, yeah, that's like my opinion on Man United. As for Newcastle, thought they played very well. They make sure that St. James's Park is the fortress. And apart from, I think they've learned their mistake from going, like, the way they played against a 10-man Liverpool. And I know Liverpool are Liverpool, that they know what they're doing. Like it's still like the way they defended against Arsenal, and the goal was controversial. But the way they defended today is there's a lot of consistency in that team, and the credit to Eddie Howe again. That's how you coach a team. The balance of playing on the front foot, but also staying very structured defensively. And I'll go into detail another time about why I like Eddie Howe so much. But he gets the best out of players, and I think that's why Anthony Gordon's doing so well, because I didn't see like a brilliant player at Everton. But I'm seeing a brilliant play at Newcastle, not only because there's better players, but because Eddie Howe's getting the best out of him. And it'll be actually really interesting to see. Well, I guess I won't be watching that game, but because Tottenham and West Ham is the game on Thursday. But Everton Newcastle on Thursday, him at Goodison Park, it'll be very interesting to see how he does at Goodison, because the crowd will be on him. And if Newcastle had other options to play, Eddie Howe probably wouldn't play him, because that would amp the crowd up as already, and the crowd are already going to get up for the Premier League. But he doesn't really have much of a choice but to play him. He's not going to play Matt Ritchie against Everton, I don't believe so. But I think Newcastle have done very well. It's very hard for them to balance the whole Champions League thing out. And unfortunately, they're probably going to go out of the Champions League, mainly because of a balance of their own performances. They should have done better against Dortmund in both games. They were poor, but a refereeing decision that should have been given against PSG as well. But that is my opinion on the game. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to your new social medias. I'm in the description if you want to follow me, and the email for the inquiries. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.